time I forget you're going to do that.
I feel like if I didn't now, you'd be disappointed.
You can pickard your friends and you can pickard your nose, but you can't pickard your friend's nose.
And you definitely can't Skinner your nose.
No.
So I don't remember if it was, I think it was on this podcast that I don't know if I was saying I felt like this series might be which goalie is going to crack first. And I'm not saying the series is over, but like, you know, it's like which team has the goalie that kind of falters and then how does he recover? Well, Skinner made his move.
Oh, gosh.
And I saw some stats saying he usually responds pretty well after a loss.
Yeah.
Well, technically he lost game 2, but it wasn't like a bad loss.
Oh, man, double overtime.
Yeah. So my gut is saying that they're going to punch back in game 4 because Bob is also due to get lit up for a game. Like he typically has a game where he just kind of loses it as well. I just don't think it's maybe as often or as noticeable when it happens to Skinner, but
it's been a while since it's happened to Bob.
It has been a while. He went through a couple of years where we sort of forgot about him and he was sort of really up and down, but
I feel like this playoff run, he's not had a game like that since arguably game 1 Leafs.
yeah,
That's where I was going with it.
the Canes weren't enough of a threat really to put him under duress like that. But if there's an offense that can do it, like the Oilers have the offense to do it. So I don't know. My gut is saying there's a bounce back game coming for game 4. But it could be like 7-6.
Yeah, I was going to say their bounce back game might still be.
Yeah, exactly.
And their bounce back game could be a tight one like game 1, and it's 2-1 with them clinging on to her in the third. You know what I mean? Like it's really not.
Yeah, it could. I'm curious to see how the Oilers respond. There's something about Florida teams where as the series goes on, they get better.
It's all that vitamin C and D, man.
I guess.
Holy cow.
But am I wrong, though? Like, Florida always kind of, if, you know, they're going to start a little bit slow.
Although last year in the finals, they went up 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I just, I do feel like Florida really found their game and like, you know, they adjust well to teams. I felt like they made some good adjustments. It doesn't look anything like game 1. They're not even really moving the puck quite the same way. They're kind of getting to that wear you down type of game now. I don't know. I had some thoughts on I don't like talking too much about reffing because I don't like getting into the semantics of it.
I almost put my referee's jersey on the mannequin today to see if he would notice.
But like, for example, so the whole thing with Bennett, right? He's doing the crease thing. He's falling into the goalie. They're not
multiple times.
Right. And then all of a sudden it kind of like they start calling it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just don't like when they change it. You know, if you're going to set the expectation, you need to be consistent with the expectation. That's my thing. I won't even get into breaking down what's a penalty, what's not when you look at the rule, the letter of the law. But like from game to game, you know, it just changes. It's to the point at times where I'm like, I'm not sure how people can bet on this. It's just so, you know, like it's just so wildly inconsistent. But
well, can I play devil's advocate with the Bennett stuff? Our future Leaf leader. I wondered if they viewed it like You know what I mean? Like, okay, like you hit Vasilevsky in Series 1 and we let it go. And then like 5 games later, you hit Stallers in Series 2. And then we thought it was a fluke thing. Okay, like Sam, stay out of the blue paint. Then you ran into Freddie, you know what I mean, in Series 3. And now you're in Series 4 and you fell on Skinner once and they gave you the benefit of the doubt and you fell on Skinner again. And it's like, okay, Sam, that's enough. And then you fell on Skinner again. You're the only one who skates seem to like just, I don't know what that blue paint's made out of. And and he falls on him again. And now it's like, you know what, you're going. Yeah. That's how I viewed it, kind of like, I know there's like inconsistency, but in one way, it's almost like, you know what? We started a new series and everything. We don't even know the conversation that maybe a Macaulay or someone had with Bennett before the game even started, kind of like Nelson.
Oh, yeah. And that stuff goes on. It does.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like, they let it go so long. You know what I mean? It's like, he's going to keep doing it if you do that.
Of course he is.
He's going to do it until you call it. So like, just call it at the start. Everyone
have to let you build your reputation up with it first and let you get away and get away.
Get away. Like,
and then all of a sudden you're in the territory where you're just automatically getting the penalty.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of the Leaf players who keep drawing penalties, and then all of a sudden can't get a penalty.
Yeah. So, yeah. And it's just the nature of it. You know, I get it. Yeah. I saw a quote today from Matthew Tkachuk basically saying that I thought it was kind of funny. It's like he said they have to be okay with getting punched in the face. They have to be okay with getting cross-checked and not responding, which we always kind of talk about, but to hear him kind of verbalize it was sort of neat. I don't know. I think they're really good at that. I mean, they're good at antagonizing that stuff and then goading people into it, right?
Well, can we talk about maybe game 1 for all the 60 seconds, game 2, and then we'll analyze, holy crap, whatever game 3 was, because I have some theories here, but game 1, and tell me if you disagree with me. Even though the score, it ended in overtime, my gosh, Edmonton looked good. It was the first time that I had seen Florida look like that. Like, Gary, we were used to feeling like, oh man, we're on our heels. Hold on. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, come on, just hold on. And like, they looked like that.
Toronto looked pretty good in game 1 too.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. But like, not once when they looked that good, did I ever feel like, even when they hammered them game 1 in that second round series, I never felt like Florida ever felt like they were in trouble. They kept playing their game and they were hitting anyway. And it was, but game 1 of this series, I've never seen Florida look like they were on their heels. And it could have been a 5-1 game, but it wasn't. It went to overtime and arguably the right team won, right? Game 2, I felt was a lot more 50-50. Like both teams won different parts of periods. Do you know what I mean? And then, and how we could analyze how they got to overtime to begin with, how you have a first period like that, and then you end up somehow not scoring for another, like end up in double overtime. And Brad Marchand is Brad Marchand. You cannot leave him. Guys, how did they, on a power play, in double overtime, make a mistake like that and leave him just... In a way, he was barely over the blue line. And I started to get up off the couch and I said, that's game.
Yeah, he was all alone on the side of the net, I think, wasn't he? And who was it on defense passed it basically through open ice all the way down to him almost on the goal line. He one-times it in. I sort of forget now what the...
Oh, no, that's double overtime was a breakaway.
Oh, sorry, that one.
Short-handed,
from Lindell. Yeah,
he was gone.
That was yes.
And I was like half off the couch and said, "That's game." And Amanda said, "What?" And I was like, "He scored." Like it was like that was.
Game 2, hot take. I think 10-15 minute overtime and then a shootout would be much better hockey.
Were you tired the next day, Gary?
That game felt like a little bit of how many times can we ice the puck? I'm not even going to bother trying to get the center. There's nobody between me and the red line. I'll just dump it down anyway.
Florida was playing so many games with the delays and trying to get the changes. Like
that overtime was taking like a period and a half worth of time just to get through.
Well, is that partially
bad.
To exhaustion?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the equivalent of playing 3 games in 2 days.
Yeah.
And it was bad.
It was a long.
So side note, the Memorial Cup this year in the round robin games, when they went to overtime, they did 3-on-3 for 20 minutes. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I was watching. I'm like, what do you? I'm looking at the play and the time. I'm like, what is happening? 3-on-3 for 20 minutes. Like they're gonna have how do you manage that? Anyways, they didn't do that in the elimination games, but in the round robin, 3-on-3, 20 minutes. I was like, this is crazy.
It's like half the team just stops playing at that point.
I guess. Yeah.
That's a weird one, and overtime's a weird one. We could compare it to other sports, but like you know what I mean. Like it's not you're taking the team aspect out of it.
Yeah, I don't fully. I mean, I don't know. I do. I think there's stats now that shows that for the most part the games can end pretty quickly with the 3-on-3 format, but it depends what the team's doing. If they're doing that whole like win the face-off clean, like
cycle back.
I don't like that look. I'm gonna circle back.
Play keep away.
Look around.
And
then you look at the other team and you say, we have 5 or 6 shootout experts, and they don't have a lot of great shootout players. So
exactly,
if you just kind of hog the puck.
We'll just hog it for 5
possession.
minutes.
Yeah, if there's an opening, there's an opening. But if there's not, we'll just kill the clock.
Yeah. I almost wish they do like a shot clock or something like they do in basketball. But, you know what I mean? Like if you get possession, it's like you need so many.
Even the 3-on-3, while at least it ends the game, and exhibition play, like regular season, we all can't stay up all night. So I get it, right?
Yes, we all can't stay up all night.
But it's a 5-on-5 game. To end in a shootout just feels.
I think on 32 Thoughts, they were saying somebody had the idea of like you get 5 icings in a period, and after that it's a delay a game penalty for every icing.
There you go. That'll end it.
But we're already saying you can't change your shift.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay out there. So it's like an extra penalty on top of that penalty.
Well, am I the only one
One of the other suggestions was if you broke your stick and the puck gets iced, you're not allowed to go to the bench to get a new stick. You have to get your stick during play.
Interesting. Just to move along.
So if you're the centerman and you broke your stick, you can't even take the face off. Somebody else would have to take it.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, am I the only one that I was fine with a tie? Well, what's wrong with the tie? I grew up with ties. The game ended in a tie.
Here's my, Jay, if you're not going to end it with a tie, and I mean, you kind of want a winner, the point system's also been a massive pet peeve of mine, not to get off. Because I don't want it, but it's a 2-point game. Yeah. And then you give it to a winner, but you still give the losing team a point for taking the other team to overtime. And now you have a 3-point game.
Yeah.
I don't know why nobody can rationally bring this up in a GM meeting and this not get any traction. I don't understand why. It can still be, all I'm saying is the winner of every game gets 3 points. Done. 3 points. If you go to overtime, the winner gets 2 points, the loser gets 1 point. It's still a 3-point game. You're splitting points now.
You're describing the IIHF point system, which works pretty good.
Like I just don't. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well.
So yeah, I get it. 5-on-5 is what hockey is, and that's a more pure victory if you play it that way. But strictly from an entertaining product point of view, it's funner watching a overtime in October 3-on-3 than it is in a Stanley Cup Final.
I hear you. I know what you're saying.
Except, can I put an asterisk on that, Gary? If it's Game 7 overtime of the Stanley Cup Final, it doesn't matter. It doesn't get much more stinking intense than that.
Depends if the goal is allowed or disallowed at the end.
It's a unique problem because other sports don't have that, eh? Like in basketball, a tie is so rare that if they go into overtime, the likelihood of another tie is so rare, so it's over. In baseball now, to speed it up, they go to extra innings, the regular season. They put a runner on second.
Oh, do they?
I did not know that.
Just boom, done. There's a runner in play to try to speed up someone scoring. So instead of going to inning 15,
the fastest guy on the bench, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, why not? Just to kind of, but like, so if you scored at the top of the inning, that's fine. You still play the bottom to give the other team a chance, and then the game's over. Done. Like it has dramatically sped it up. Hockey's unique with the
hockey
5-on-5.
Hockey equivalent would be whoever gave up the lead gets a penalty at the beginning of overtime.
Yeah. I know what you mean, Gary, but what I struggle with is like at the highest level, which is the playoffs for winning and losing, it feels like the game has to be played in the same essence that it's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just the 5-on-5, it needs to be won and lost like that without the gimmicks, you know? But I hear you. Like, I know what you mean. It was like,
it's like, I'm going to ice the puck, face off. I'm going to ice the puck.
Yeah.
Face off.
Like, you know, they're some of the best athletes in the world, but they also have limits.
Yeah.
So,
Game 3. What the heck was even that? Can I tell you what my wife said, who's pretty stinking astute, and she's been watching a lot of hockey even without me? She felt like Edmonton was falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. Like,
for what?
At the end of a period, when you have three of them
scrums and stuff,
chasing after Kachuk, ragdolling him, and he's basically laughing, not fighting back, and you take 2 penalties again. That's what they want. That's what they wanted you to do.
I should have saved my Kachuk quote for when we talked about this, but that's exactly what he was talking about. He said that they said in the locker room, the message in the locker room was, you need to be okay with taking a punch and a cross check and not retaliating. Like, they talked about that. It wasn't like a unspoken, like, whatever. Like, that's the plan, is to do that. You know what I mean?
Like that, the penalty, was it Kane that took it? Kane was standing in front of the net, and Forsling just kind of backed in right in front of him and stopped right in front of him and just gave him the back, almost daring him to cross check him.
Yeah.
And as soon as he did, he kind of falls forward and immediately bounces back up like he's not laying on the ice crying about it. He just pops right back up, and the refs.
Boom, done. And I think they smelled blood a little bit because, like, didn't Marchand score it was like the first minute,
like a minute.
Yeah.
And so I think, like,
the announcing at that part, they're getting ready for the face-off in the zone. And the announcers are saying, well, Edmonton has decided to put Nurse and Klingberg together this game. We'll see how long this is going to last. They drop the puck. Puck goes in the net. I was sitting with Heather laughing. I was like, not going to last very long.
I don't even believe in this stuff. But that announce team jinxes so much crap.
Are you talking about Cuthbert and Simpson?
Oh, yeah. The famous one is calling Carey Price's perfect game. And someone joked on air and said, "Why would you say that out loud?" Scores.
It's funny. Like, I don't see the Sportsnet broadcast that off. I do in the playoff, but like, I've heard multiple times Ron McLean talking about a goalie shutout, and then he like catches himself, and he does it all the time. It's so funny. Yeah. Anyways,
sorry, you were saying Marchand scores a minute in.
Oh yeah, and to me, it was just kind of like I just felt a little bit of like Skinner, not Jeff Skinner, Stuart Skinner. Like, I think he has to put together a whole year of really consistent goaltending before it's like waiting for the guy to crack. Because like even in these playoffs, there was some stat where it was like if he won, he was over like a 96 or 97 save percentage. And when he lost, it was like below 800 or some kind of thing. It was like this dude extreme ends. So Marchand gets that in the first minute. And I think the Oilers are a little bit like, oh boy, here we go. And I just don't think they really got to their game. Like they just didn't, to me, respond super well to that.
There was that, and then all the penalties and everything off of that. Yes. There was just zero flow.
Yeah.
They never got into it. By the time the game actually started as a game, they were long gone.
But when we say penalties, you're talking at the end of the game, did Florida not have 10 power plays?
11,
yeah.
That's
Edmonton
insane.
Had 85 penalty minutes or some kind of thing. It was insane.
Kane took more penalties in the game than he's taken in the entire playoffs before that.
Man. I'm not surprised, man. That guy has he gets blue screen to death in his brain and he short circuits and anyways. Yeah, I don't know. They but I just have a gut feeling they're gonna bounce back for game 4. The only thing I don't know is Skinner. I don't know what to expect. So
a lot of that with him seems to be too with how the team plays, because they can play where they just possess the puck and take care of the goalie very well. And he just has to do the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where the team just decides,
Gary, it's almost like the more desperate they get, they leave them high and dry.
Yeah, the D start pinching and making bad passes at the blue line. And
next thing you know, yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. I'm expecting a bounce back game, but I'm expecting a close game. I'm not expecting it's not like they're going to come back and blow them out now. It's going to be
I'm curious if the bounce back game is going to be the game in Florida, or if that one is just kind of a little bit of a bounce back and then get back in Edmonton and get a big bounce back there.
Could. They could take game 4 in overtime and then go back to Edmonton and have their 5-1 win to feel like we're alive again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that is honestly how it could go down.
And then you're on, then the cup's in the building, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. That just felt like I don't know that I've ever yelled at the TV before for a team that's not mine. Because it just felt very like they were falling for it and like it was getting worse. And it was like Wallman's going after Ekblad. It's like, just stop. Like, what? Stop. Like, do you see the smile on Ekblad's face? Stop.
You're watching it as a Leafs fan too, so you know.
And it's like you're falling for this hook, line, and sinker, and you're getting all riled up, and you're getting all... Get it back on the scoreboard and throw the body. Do not throw those cheap punches, and do not cross-check, and do not slash. Do not give them excuses to... Like, holy cow. Yeah.
But a lot of that, like was McDavid said, a lot of that was garbage time.
Oh yeah.
It was kind of the game's almost done anyway, so he didn't care.
Yeah,
that they were behaving like that at that point.
Yeah, you throw that out. Yeah, I don't even think you throw it away. And
I do think you throw it away, but the second period was getting wild already.
Yeah. At that point, yes, but
yeah, I know. Are we all calling Edmonton to win Game 4? I am.
I think I got to go Florida.
Holy crap, Gary!
I do. I kind of was on the same vein as you, Tyson. I thought it would be a close game and Edmonton might pull it out. But I just want to put all my Stuart Skinner asterisk on everything.
Oh gosh,
I just don't know.
I don't know. I'm with you on that. You're not kidding. That is a big. Yeah.
The McDavid's quote after the game too, when he was saying something like, "We haven't played our best yet, but it's coming." It's like sounds like a good quote, but the more that I think about it now, is like he didn't say like next game we'll bring it. He just said it's coming.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming along.
Yeah. He didn't say when. He just said we didn't bring our best game yet, but it's coming. And then afterwards was like, probably could have said next game we'll be bringing the best game. But
is it that the best game is coming, or that the game is coming along? It may never reach the best game.
He's saving it. He's saving his best stuff for the 2026-27 campaign.
That's right. I feel like there's a lot of quotes like that you'll hear, like different teams will say that, like, we haven't played our best game yet, you know what I mean? And then they're eliminated. It's like, that's true, you didn't. I'm not sure if you're expecting
maybe
that you
did.
will. Yeah, exactly. And that was what I was going to say. It's like, well, maybe that was your best game.
Listen, just to point something out before I forget, because we haven't recorded since. I don't want to say we told you so, but we told you so here first, and Dallas fired their coach.
Yeah,
bad quotes.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we didn't talk about that.
No,
we had talked
about it before. Jeremy's words, like, I don't know how you not fire him after saying that about your goalie. 48 hours later.
That's right. Yeah.
Pete DeBoer.
You wait and you have your exit interviews with the player first.
Yep.
Yeah. And it turns out they're all like, well, we didn't appreciate when you threw our goalie under the bus.
Yeah. How's that for a sample size? Holy
man.
darn.
What a career that guy's had.
Yeah.
He's been to the conference final for 3 straight years, 2 of them with Dallas. And like, he's had success with Vegas, with San Jose, we already talked about all this.
New Jersey, yeah.
New Jersey before. It's got to be like it's the weirdest track record of like, this guy's a really good coach who just keeps getting fired. And really, like, up until this point, like he'd never really had a quote like that was like, that got him in that much trouble.
No, but this was bad.
Oh, it was super. It was ridiculous.
There's a little bit of Torts vibes going on there, where it seems like he has a window of 2 or 3 years. And
exactly. Yeah. And like, I've seen him, like, he's a pretty fiery guy. Like, he doesn't like get in the big fights with the media every time, but he's a pretty fiery dude. And even just the way that, like, when Ottinger got yanked in that game 7, he's skating back to the net, and you can see him going, Jake,
get over
and he's
here.
like, come on. And he's waving him to the tunnel. And it's like, oof. But yes, anyways, we saw that. I think a lot of people saw that coming too.
No. We get credit for all of it. We had reels about it. It got a bunch of views. I think we inspired the Dallas brass.
Yeah, that's right.
They were like,
Jim
oh,
Mill
man.
listens to this.
These guys from the Maritime think I should fire old Pete. Old Popsicle Pete down there. He's got to go.
72-year-old Jim Mill listens to this and said, them boys are on to something.
Yeah. Crazy.
Did you guys see the thing about Gary Bettman responding to Biz about the player tax thing?
No.
I did.
I did not.
Here, you explain it there, Gary. I'm bringing it up here.
Bettman was on the TNT broadcast with them, so Biz brought up the idea of whether or not they should, the NHL was going to do anything about having different taxes in different states.
Attaboy,
and
Biz.
And Bettman looked slightly annoyed that it was even brought up, but
yeah.
Are you going to bring the video up?
But it is a thing. Like,
his point was that it is a thing, but it's like the 7th or 8th or 9th thing on a player's list.
I don't know, man.
And
losing almost half my salary would be a pretty big thing.
For 20, 30 years now.
But like with the new tax brackets and stuff, that's arguably a bigger thing. If you're getting paid $14 million, but you're clearing 7.5, 8, but you play in Florida and you're making $14 million and you get all $14 million. Yeah. What that does is allow that player, like, well, if I had stayed in Calgary, I'd only be clearing 8. So I'll tell you what, I'll sign for 9. I'm still clearing more, and then you can go out and sign another guy.
Yeah. And then the guy in LA says, but you're living in Calgary making US dollars and living off Canadian dollars. Out here in LA, we're paying just as much tax, but we have to pay US dollars for our living expenses in LA too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you have to, then the fairness thing becomes a big,
But highest cost of living in all of Canada, what city?
Vancouver.
Yep. Second. Gary, you know
Toronto
what it is.
Calgary? Toronto or Calgary?
It's Toronto. It's Toronto. It's Vancouver and Toronto. And guess which teams pay the most taxes in the entire league and have 2 of the highest costs of living? They don't play in Minnesota. They're not out playing in, you know what I mean? Columbus. Yep. Like it's, so like the LA argument is legitimate.
Yeah, LA and New York pay just as high a taxes, but
yeah,
you're living in US dollars.
Yeah, and a high cost of living,
And a high cost of living.
That's true, but there should be a disparity.
You're playing there because you want to live there in that case.
Like, I don't know why it's not as simple as there's a clause in the contract, and then I'm really curious how this went down, but that there's a clause in the contract, Gary, that just says something to the effect of like, okay, we want to sign Austin Matthews for $11 million a year. For him to actually clear the $11 million a year, we have the money, we'll pay him 15, then he clears what he actually signed for. The rest goes in taxes, because you can't pay the taxes for somebody, then they're not being taxed. So if you could just pay him more so he clears what he's supposed to, and then whatever that percentage is in any given city, whether it's less or more, you just take that into accordance, and then an $11 million player, no matter where they play, is an $11 million player. Like, you don't need bonuses, you don't need all these things, you just need to allow them to do that. That, okay, so Austin's making 16 now. He's not, he's clearing 11. Do you know what I mean? He's losing 5 in taxes. And then if he had a sign in LA, we didn't have to pay him 15, we had to pay him 14, but he's still losing, he's getting 11 because he's losing 3 in taxes. Like, I don't know why it's not rocket science, is it? Like, I'm not crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. I look at like the private world and like, if you work for a company that's a national or international company, they don't pay the same job the same amount across the whole world.
No, they don't.
You know what I mean?
It depends where you're living and where your office is and all that stuff. But they're also not working on a cap.
Yeah. and that's fine. Yeah, for sure.
If every company had a company cap, like, hey, I'm Jeff Bezos and I'd love to get bigger, but I've hit my cap.
salary cap.
Like it's it's a
here's another interesting one for you. All of the profit sharing or whatever that the teams do to keep things even. I don't know if it was Merrick's show or one of the shows I was listening to brought up the idea of, hey, you make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, your team's been bringing in this playoff revenue the whole time. Maybe you shouldn't be eligible for profit sharing next year. If you're a have-not team and you make it to the finals, then why are you getting money from
it's kind of
the Rangers and the Leafs and all
like
these big teams?
They do well, not the exact same thing, but they do a similar thing in F1, right? In terms of like you get some kind of penalty, for always like winning.
Yeah, you get better.
You know what I mean?
The prize money's still better.
Yeah. It's all right. Yeah.
I saw a breakdown of it once. I didn't realize how it was divided up. That you, especially for the constructors, you do not first place isn't actually, gosh, I don't want to deep dive into F1, but first place isn't actually a guaranteed amount every year. It's a percentage of the share of what you brought in, right? And everyone all the way down to the last team gets a percentage. But you're rewarded with extra millions of dollars for having the difference between first and second, and it could be 1 point, is millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so, the way it's profit shared is wild.
Yeah, yeah. But it I guess it kind of levels the playing field a little bit, for the bigger markets versus the smaller ones. But it kind of just depends which ones are successful too.
Yep.
Like I look at Colorado as technically a smaller market team who's been pretty successful, has had a Stanley Cup win, you know what I mean? But they're somewheres in the middle of the pack in terms of team value and stuff like that, right?
Well, and some of it has nothing to do with fan bases or not being able to sell out. It has to do with if you're in a smaller market and you charge what the Leafs do for tickets, but you're in a smaller market, you can't sell out. They can't afford to go.
Yeah.
They're not going. They can't afford to go. If you're in downtown Toronto or Vancouver, people can go. There's still season ticket holders, and people might not be able to go every game, but they can go to 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, and it's different. Like in Denver, as good as the Avs have been the best franchise in terms of the 4 major sports in that city, but they will always take, if the Rockies were successful, you'd hear way more about that. If the Broncos were successful, you'd hear way more about that. You know what I mean? They'll always not be the same clout as those other markets. But I like the idea of it. I'm sure the owners don't, but it's also incentive. But it's also not incentive. You know what I mean? Because if you're not getting your cut of the pie while you're winning all the time, you know what I'm saying? But
they do get, correct me if I'm wrong, merch sales are a completely different thing, are they not? They're not included in the...
I believe... Well, I don't know. Actually, I can't say I know that. I'm not sure how that works.
I don't know why I thought that was a completely different... Because one of the perks to being a winning team was all the merch and stuff that everyone and their dog that's a hardcore fan wants the Stanley Cup champion shirt with that year on it and get the hat and get a Stanley Cup patch jersey and oh my gosh, they've done the Stanley Cup patch a disservice. What the heck is it doing on the other side of the jersey? You got Connor McDavid with the C and the little tiny stinking Stanley Cup right beside it instead of over where it belongs because they got advertising on the...
Yeah, I think people asked that when they started doing that sponsor thing. Where are they going to put it? And they're not bumping the sponsor.
But couldn't you put the sponsor somewhere else?
Should put the cup down at the bottom of the jersey, right in the middle.
Right. I don't know. It's just, anyway, maybe I'm just a big part of my childhood is I can still picture the 1990 big round patch, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
orange colored.
Yeah, and it was like that was on the jersey. You know what I mean? It was. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's
we're headed towards the Spangler Cup here before we know it.
Oh gosh,
the face-off circle's full of ads.
Because they just see money signs. That's all it is. And it's just, anyway, part of me gets it. And the other part of me, you know what I mean? Like wrestling, and it's a completely different beast. But the second Vince McMahon's gone, we watched Cameron was over the other night. We watched the pay-per-view together. There was 12 ads on the wrestling ring. Every turnbuckle, a big commercial for Elden Ring in the middle of the ring. There was Prime energy drink in one corner and like Eno supplements in another corner. And then it was just wild. Like 5 ads on the mats. And then the posts. And then and it's like, holy cow, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
So, I don't know. Yeah, I guess unless you guys get something else you want to talk about, we could wrap her up there and see how game 4 goes.
Yeah, we could. I'm really curious. Free agent season's coming very shortly, but stuff's not heating up yet. It's about to heat up, right? So in another week or so, we'll probably have lots more to talk about with free agent season coming.
Well, I wasn't going to get into this because no one cares. But we got our 2C.
But I'm gonna.
Brock. Oh, hang on. Okay. Let's not. Okay. So Brock Nelson.
Yeah, I saw that.
Re-signed.
Yeah.
with Colorado. I was thrilled considering they gave up a first and Cal.
How many years?
3 years. He's good excuse to do that. Yeah. 3 years at 34. Okay. Yeah. 7.5 million. So what he's done is also kind of set the market a bit for John Tavares, right? They are the same age.
Yep.
He has not produced as much as Tavares has, but some people wanted him to take like league minimum, they wanted him to sign for free.
The big rumor I heard about Tavares yesterday and today was a 6-year deal at 4.5.
Well, that would make sense.
The cap is going up. So that already like 4.5 for an almost 40 goal scorer. Okay. And then next year, that 4.5, the cap's gone up. And the next year, the cap's gone up again. That 4.5 seems like nothing. And rather than signing a guy like that for 3 years, in other words, saying like, oh, we're scared in 3 years, you're all washed up. You just locked in your money. Right?
Yeah.
For the next.
So that is 5 million more total than the deal Brock Nelson just signed. But your AAV is lower. So he's guaranteed to get more money overall. He just takes less of it per year. The percentage of cap is smaller. My thing with the 38 goals is like I know it's 38. He almost scores 40 goals. I get it. He's 34. Like, how long? Like, where's the cliff here? Is it
which is why
we're watching off the cliff?
We're watching the finals here now. We're entering the old man era of the NHL. Marchand and Corey Perry are like the MVPs of this series right now.
Yeah, 100%.
How good did Patches look? What the heck?
Yeah.
I heard talk of him coming back next year too.
Man, I thought
it's
in
one
some
more
of those,
year or retire,
series,
right? Like he's close to, he's thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in that series, man, he was like their highest effort player. He's not fast, but like, man, he made a lot of smart plays.
Yeah,
like he's a guy you want around for sure. But yeah, that's interesting. I was curious what you got thought, because that Nelson deal sort of set the market for, like the whole.
In my mind, if he signs for 4.5, knowing the cap's going up, so he just drops from 11 million a year to 4.5, you take that deal all day.
Oh yeah.
So I'll put it to you another way. If it does that kind of depend on what Tree Living does this summer? Like, if he throws a grenade in this thing, are you still willing to take that on?
Yep.
Okay.
I am. Here's the thing. If we pretend it's not Tavares, and that he's not one of the core four, if he's willing to take that big, let's pretend it's not him. We don't know who it is. If I told you, listen, there's a guy that consistently scores 35 goals or more and has done so for the last 10 seasons. He's a center and he wins 60% of his faceoffs. You'd be, without even asking his age, you'd be like, oh my gosh, 8-9 million.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, it's, if they sign him long term, part of me is like, yeah, there's a cliff here somewhere. You're right. And then the other part of me is like, the player knows there is too. And that's locked in money for him. Mm-hmm. They can bench me for all I care. Mm-hmm. Right? Later, I'm going to play my heart out. I want to play here, but it's like my guaranteed money. So I will sign for less now than what I could get elsewhere. Mm-hmm. With the asterisks of you're paying me a longer term. So we're both gambling on the end. I still hope I'm good 5 years from now. Of course I do. You know what I mean? But it's...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's where I put it. He is a 60% face-off guy, which is insane in today's NHL. Still.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, no, don't disagree.
It's an interesting.
I always look at this stuff.
The asterisk, Jay, is that, but it hasn't been working. So,
well, at that price, you're starting him as the 2C next year,
yeah.
But then he's quickly going to fall down to 3C, 4C, or over to the wing.
Well,
or something.
This is where I'm going because like.
I'd go 3.
Like we're all pretty sure that Marner is gone. We're into retool mode. So if Marner's gone and they don't trade his rights away to get some kind of assets back, there's no one on the market who is better than. There's no improvement to be had on the free agent market.
So then you go sign multiple other players.
I think you're taking a hit next year. You're
right.
You're fighting to get in the playoffs next year.
So we're into retool mode.
1 year, yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the free agency of the year after that is
wild.
And the trade deadline next year.
There's a certain guy I think who's up for
there's a couple.
So Gary, my only thing with that is there's a couple teams going to be going in the same direction.
Yep.
They're probably thinking the same thing. It's actually going to ruin the market for the few UFAs this
you're gonna
summer.
You're going to end up paying for whoever you get.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to pay as much as you would have paid.
But I actually feel bad for some of the UFAs this summer because I think it's actually wrecking their market for them.
Like, so it's bad timing. It's unfortunate timing. That's all I was getting at with the Tavares thing, because if you're going to build your whole, like your franchise is built around Matthews, if you're sticking with that, his window, like how old is he? He's the 28? Was he 27? 28?
26, 27, 28.
Must be 28.
I think he's drafted
2015 or 16.
15, I thought.
Yeah. 27.
27. Okay.
27.
So you guys in 3 years are going to be at where I'm at with McKinnon, who's going to be 30 when the season starts. There's no greater pain in my life than imagining him being on the other side of his career at this point. But I always think of it in terms of what's your core, what's your franchise guy, and he's in his prime right now, right? So you know,
you're going to burn 1 year of it.
You're going to burn a year of that.
Get right back on it.
Yeah.
And then you've only got 2 years of his contract left.
Exactly.
I think they're making the playoffs. I don't think they're winning the division.
I don't. Yeah, I think they're
going to be realistic.
They're a wild card team or the number 3 in the division, maybe.
And they still get in
next year.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be a harder path. Now, mind you, Gary, they won the division
make some big
this year.
They could make big moves at the trade deadline next year.
But I'd like to asterisk this with how good the second line and third line look this year, and they won the division without Austin Matthews looking like Austin Matthews and missing 11 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I and that's all where I was going with this, because Tyson, I agree with you. For all those stats, it's a good, we're acting as if he's just signed it. But if he did sign that, the percentage of cap, I think, saves you because the cap is going up. We've been used to saying for a long time now, or a couple of years at least, that those long-term deals for old guys just they don't work because the cap doesn't change enough. It's a loss for the team to give a guy a deal like that. But in this case, I think it's okay. And that's all I was going with that is like if you give him the longer term deal, you end up into that window situation with Matthews, his contract. Now you've got Tavares. If he falls off the cliff right away, maybe all it takes is one season where they're not quite as competitive and he doesn't have it quite the same. Who knows? That could not be true. But like anyway, I was just curious what your guys' thoughts were as Leafs fans on where that would land. But yeah.
I know what you mean. You worry about that 4 or 5 years from now. But I mean, gosh, I don't know how to. I'm just doing the math on. So you let Marner walk, and let's say like whatever he's making $10 million now, Gary, and the rumor is he'll get 14. So you don't actually save 14, you save 10, and then you're saving if Tavares signs for what the rumor is, you're saving another 6. Now you're at 16 million, and the cap is going up another 8. So you're at 24 million. But let's say you sign Nyes for that 8. You've got about 16 million to play with in cap space. You could, and you let a couple guys walk. You could do something.
The thing I think that they run into is it's like any contending team. I don't think they have a ton of like you need to do it through hockey deals to get those.
No draft picks, no prospects.
Yep. That's what
Yep.
So I'm just looking to see what is.
I'm just for that money, Gary. I'd be really curious that you re-sign Nyes and he's let it be known he wants to stay. I love that. So you have your first line, Nyes, Matthews, and arguably either Domi or Nylander, and give Nylander a run with Matthews. Do they hate each other and we don't know why they don't run them together when it's the same position Marner plays? It's beyond me. Yeah. Move up Nylander. You keep Tavares as your second line C, right? Winning 6% of faceoffs. You can get 2 solid second line guys for that money. And you call up a couple rookies and you let a couple guys like Camp, Yarncroke, Robertson, like, I love yous, but bye. You know what I mean? And you give a couple of these younger guys a run online. Maybe you even call up Cowan off and on, give him some playing time. I don't know.
Well, I think
don't want to keep Robertson and try and get his brother.
Well, I saw that rumor too.
Here's the thing. Now, you guys, I've said my
brother.
I saw Brandon Tanev rumor too.
Yeah, get Jason. Yeah. Now I've said before, like the window for McKinnon is on it's headed. You know, we're closing on his now. I've had theories before too, where I think guys like him are going to extend prime years. I just think that we're at another level of player development that I think we're going to extend it.
Yeah.
But however, like, you know, I've always said, like, take every prospect we have and every draft pick and get rid of. I don't want any of them. I want all of the best players right now. It's not going to get better than this. I like going for it. So I look at the Leafs have no first round picks for the next 3 years.
Nothing.
They do have a second round in 2025.
Yep, one.
None for 2026. One in 2027.
Oh, I know. It's going to be a very boring watch for me this year.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is, like, for you guys to take advantage of that cap space, you got to trade Easton Cowan. You got to give up.
Oh, go away. You're just jealous.
You got to give up.
You're just jealous. You want him. You want Cowboy in Colorado.
I mean, I don't know. I was looking at the way he was in the World Juniors. I wasn't too thrilled about him. But,
and then he goes back to London and breaks records. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Or if you are planning on taking a step back for a year, you've convinced Morgan Rielly that it's time to move on and trade him away for some prospects and picks.
Yeah.
To start piling up the cabinet.
Yeah.
So that you can make moves at the deadline.
The other interesting one is Colorado has made some pretty savvy moves signing older college players. because in the US, right, like the college players that you can sign like a 20. Well, you guys did it with
Nice.
Oh yeah, we did it with quite a few.
yeah. See, you guys have done it too. So it's
is
a
a
good
college
Tyler Bozak.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Yeah, I forgot about him. But they end up being like, instead of having a player who maybe should be a second line guy that you end up playing on the third because he can't quite pan out. I mean, you get some of these college guys and they're like clamoring for any kind of role like that, right? Like you can get a lot of role players that way. So I think there's a move there. But yeah, I think like who else you got? You got Cowan. Who else is your who else you got here?
That's about it.
Is that it? Anyway, I'm curious to see Tree Living a couple years ago during that whole Huberdeau Tkachuk thing. Like he took over the whole off season with the Tkachuk stuff, the Huberdeau stuff. He tried to retool that Calgary team when they basically lost Gaudreau, Tkachuk, and Bennett, and all the guys that went to win in in Florida. But he's not afraid to do the massive retool. So I mean, doing that with the Leafs is a different kettle of fish because I don't know what goes on with what rules there is with how you manage the Leafs, but I don't know.
And
it's a
retool. It's a retool where you're keeping Austin Matthews. So it's a little different than the Calgary one where you're getting rid of your top guys.
Yeah, that's your franchise guys.
You're keeping Austin, you're keeping Willie. You want to keep Nyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I like you say, if Tavares goes for a deal similar to that, I think it's okay. Like, I mean, I'm not really worried about. I just think it's a better deal in terms of cap percentage while, you will be competitive in the next few seasons. You know what I mean? So,
I don't want to give up next season, but I think Gary's right. Like, you got to. And
you go out and you get some good grinding forwards, just work hard type players.
Unless, Gary, you can get a couple like 1-year bridge deals or something to get you through to next season to make a run where you don't feel like you're giving up a whole, because to like give up a season,
you're still icing a great team. Like the defense, the goal, everything is still strong.
But you know what I mean, Gary, to give up on a season for a hope when you're not even allowed to talk to the guy because that would be contract tampering. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean? That doesn't happen.
We're not talking about just one particular person who wears a certain jersey either. There's other contracts coming up.
That's right.
Oh, can you imagine?
As soon as the deadline hits, they're signed immediately. Well, yes, we came
John
to that.
Tavares. It was like 1:00 on Canada Day. And he was in Toronto in the press conference. Like it was like he's there.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When did your contract expire? 59 minutes ago. Yeah, already called the press conference. Gosh.
I'd be really curious to have like cameras following Marner around right now.
Oh my goodness.
What is he actually doing? Is he like visiting different cities and stuff? Or
in some gross news, some fans vandalized his house.
Oh, really?
Oh, seriously?
Like, oh my land.
What?
Like, why?
What?
And
man.
Game 3 of the finals, so just last night, but by the time this airs, 2 nights ago, when Kapanen left the ice, 2 fans like dumped their drink on him in the tunnel.
Saw that.
And the police came over, and like in the next clip, they weren't showing it, but they were showing the bench, and now the police were over there and everything. In my mind, get their names and they're banned for life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's one thing if you're yelling and stuff and whatever. I know you paid a lot for your ticket and but like, have some class. Goodness gracious.
I was surprised that the thing was even open to do that because I thought most of the rinks now had the little
the tarp
roof.
Well, they have like a half one. They've got like 12 feet or so of nothing.
Normally they like flip down towards the bench.
Yeah, that's
but like, why would you?
I guess it was in the middle of the period when he got the penalty and was just walk him down to the dressing
2 penalties,
room
Gary.
Why stop at 1?
Believe it was a minor and a major.
They're giving them away for free.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
a minor and a major.
yeah.
You can take the player out of Toronto, but you can't take the Toronto out of the player. There you go. Good old Cappy. Man, oh man.
Remember, what was the call? What was that Jim Houston call from it was 4 years ago where they scored and he's like, Kasperi Kapanen, but it wasn't him at all.
Yeah.
Do you remember, you know what I'm talking about? Wasn't it against Boston or something?
Oh gosh. And who was it instead? And he yelled the name and it's that's not Kapanen.
It was going to be it was like a overtime win. I think it was an overtime. And it was this big win, and it would have been this call that would have been replayed everywhere, but no one could use it because he hollers out the wrong name. I can still hear him yet. Kasperi Kapanen.
So you two don't watch a lot of basketball, but when there's a real deep 3, Rob Black will yell a random town or city in Canada. So some announcers, Jay, will go from downtown because it was so far out. And finally, and you don't know he's going to say it, all of a sudden Rob Black goes, all the way from Miramichi. Everyone's
fantastic.
Excited, but we can't use it because he says it completely wrong.
He says it wrong.
Which is the name of the town. Anyway, 2 weeks later, he does it again and says Miramichi. So he must have got corrected somewhere.
Someone told him. Which is funny because who told him?
I don't know.
Who would have told him?
Back then, Twitter probably.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Or Tom on MySpace, one of the two.
That's great.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Good work, boys. Well,
good work.
Sorry for all the tangents.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we were on them today.
I do want to say go Panthers because last time Florida team won back-to-back cups. I'm just saying. Just saying. They had to be dethroned.
I'll come to your house and I'll kick your dog.
Wow, I haven't heard that in a long time.
I'm just kidding. I'd kill you.
All right. All right, folks.
All right,
I'm going to
guys.
go run for my life.
Yeah, keep your stick on the ice.